Good morning. I would like to call this meeting to order. Thank you for joining us during our weekly virtual MLS breakfast meetings. My name is Christine Cheng of Keller Williams Signature Realty. A few housekeeping tips. All participants will be muted, and should you have a question or a comment, please enter it in the chat box. The host will read it during the Q&A section of the meeting. Please remember to join us weekly, as we will have our virtual MLS meetings every Thursday at 9 a.m. As always, this meeting is being recorded and will be available online on our YouTube channel, West San Gabriel Valley Realtors. A little bit about me. My name is Christine Cheng, and I am your June MLS Monthly Program Chair. Please remember to follow WSGVR social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also watch all our pre-recorded videos on YouTube. WSGVR now offers text messages updates. Please text WSGVR to the number 72727. Today's agenda consists of our affiliate spotlight, Tony Escamilla, Villa Home Inspections, the President's message given by 2020 President Mindy Ye, followed by our guest speaker, Andrew Chow, City Councilman of Diamond Bar. Today, our affiliate spotlight will be Tony Escamilla, Villa Home Inspections, brought to you by the Affiliate Committee. Take it away, Tony.
Good morning, everybody. Glad to be here this morning. My name is Tony Escamilla, and I am the owner and one of the inspectors of Villa Home Inspections. I've been in business for 22 years now and have been a licensed general contractor for 20 years. I have numerous certifications, which I won't bore you with. But today I wanted to tell you about some of the new and exciting products that we have available for realtors just like yourself. For example, we are now offering sewer camera inspections when needed. You don't have to go schedule it with somebody else. You can just do it with us. We don't sell plumbing services at all, so we won't try to sell anybody. We're inspection only. We also do thermal imaging with our Select Plus package. It also includes moisture intrusion, electrical panel labeling. That way, when the new owner moves in, they'll know exactly which breaker goes for what. We do repair verification inspections. It's a re-inspection in case the seller decides to do any repairs. It's included with this package as well. We'll go back and we'll verify that whatever repairs you agreed to that are taken care of. But one of the most exciting products that we just rolled out this week is repair pricer estimates. And if any of you have had a recent home inspection, you'll know what I'm talking about. That once you get the the inspection report, you're having to find contractors to give you estimates on various things, and that could be a real pain. This repair estimate report will be uploaded and included along with this package, and within 24 hours, you'll get a detailed estimate of all of the issues that were called out on the report. Makes it a lot quicker, a lot easier for negotiations. It's been very popular so far with the realtors and even some realtors that have uploaded inspection reports from other companies. So anyways, I'm looking forward to being your one-stop shop for inspection needs. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to give me a call. My info is on the screen.
Thank you, Tony. Please remember to support our affiliates with your transaction. Next, Mindy Ye will give her president's message.
Thank you, Christine. Good morning, WSGVR family and friends. Mindy Ye, your 2020 president. Thank you for attending our virtual MLS breakfast meeting, and we're thankful for your continued support as a valuable member of the West San Gabriel Valley Realtors. I would also like to thank our guest speaker today, Diamond Bar City Council member, Chow. I'm just going to be very, very short and brief and sweet today. I would like to leave you with an inspirational quote from Mahatma Gandhi. It's the action, not the fruit of the action, that's important. You have to do the right thing. It might not be in your power, might not be in your time that there will be any fruit, but that doesn't mean you stop doing the right thing. You might never know what result comes from your action, but if you do nothing, there will be no result. I hope you continue practicing the social distance, stay connected, stay informed, stay positive, and remember to always practice peace and gratitude daily during these challenging times. Together we stand, practice equality, unity, embracing diversity. Please join us next Thursday, June 18 at 9 a.m. Topic will be social media that can advance your real estate with Felix Hung, social media real estate experts. Additional information will be available by the end of this weekend. Thank you, Christine.
Thank you, Mindy. At this point, I would like to introduce City Councilman Andrew Chow of Diamond Bar. Andrew Chow was elected to the Diamond Bar City Council in November 2018. Previously, he served as a Parks and Recreation Commissioner in 2018. Mr. Chow was born in Taiwan and raised in the neighboring town of Hacienda Heights. In 2000, he graduated from the University of California, Irvine with a degree in social science. Following graduation, Mr. Chow moved to San Francisco and started his career as a financial planner with a large independent wealth management firm. After relocating back to Los Angeles, Andrew enjoyed a successful career with 2 national firms, where he served as the advisor to an exclusive group of family and business owners. In 2015, he made the decision to start his own practice and founded Next Gen Wealth Management, a full-service financial planning firm based in Diamond Bar. Take it away, Andrew.
Thank you so much for the invitation to speak this morning. It is an honor to be here, to be with all of you. This Zoom meeting now is becoming kind of the new norm, and we're doing a lot of these online meetings to kind of explain what's happening in our city, and also just to keep our constituents updated on everything that we're doing. So if I can share my screen with you, I do have a presentation that I'd like to go through. Let me bring up my presentation real quick. So, you know, in the middle of COVID-19, every city is having their own different type of issues, and Diamond Bar is no exception. So today I thought that I would take you through a couple of things that we're doing as a city in response to the pandemic, and also talk a little bit about some of the real estate development opportunities that are available in Diamond Bar. Because although we're primarily known as a neighborhood town with a good school district, but we certainly welcome any development or commercial opportunities to come to our city. So if I can tell you a little bit first about our Diamond Bar. So in case you didn't know, Diamond Bar is located at the corner of the 60 and 57 freeway. We were incorporated in 1989, so we're a little bit over 30 years old. It's not an old city by any means. We currently have a population about 57,000, and the city is actually landlocked, meaning we're not by the beach or anything. We only have about 15 square miles, but we do a lot with this 15 square miles. We have currently about 18,000 parcels or households, and our average household income is 117,000. Our median home value, it's actually gone up slightly. Last number I checked, it's about 700,000. The median age, as you see, is 43 years old. So we're typically a family-oriented little town, and our average household size is 3.1. So it's usually a mom and dad, you know, with a child. Our assessed value with all of our properties is 9.2 billion, and our sales revenue, our sales generates about 375 million. So that's a little bit about our little city. And here I want to talk to you a little bit our budget. So as you can imagine, with COVID-19 and with all the stores being closed, most cities around San Gabriel Valley are hit pretty hard with a sudden and sharp decline in revenue, and Diamond Bar is no exception. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the budget that the City Council just approved this month, and show you kind of how a budget works from a city perspective. Then I'll go into more specifics. So in 2019, these are our revenue sources. We're looking at a decline of about 10% or roughly about $3 million. So in a typical year, we get anywhere between 27 to $30 million in revenue. And as you can see here, it's broken down by different sources. So property tax, given that we're known for our real estate, you know, we have obviously the country that's in a gated community. From a property tax perspective, we receive about $11 million a year in property tax. But as you can see, our sales tax is down sharply 20% to only 4.2 million. And our transient occupancy tax, or otherwise known as hotel tax, you know, kind of like when you go to Vegas, they'll tag on a little bit of city tax. And we do have a hotel tax. That's down 25% because no one's traveling. Gas tax that we generate from our gas stations is down 35%. And our city services is down 23%. So overall, looking at almost a 10% decline in revenue sources, we're down to almost about $24.5 million. But you know, just because our revenue goes down doesn't mean our expenses go down. So we still have a lot of vital services that we provide to our residents that we need to maintain. So on the next slide, I'll show you some of those expenses. So majority, I would say almost a third of our budget, as in with most cities, go to public safety. As a contract city, Diamond Bar doesn't have our own police department. So unlike, let's say, Irvine, for example, that has their own police department, we contract our police services with the LA Sheriff's Office. And that contract runs about $7.7 million a year. And we also have public works. So that includes all the constructions that we do around the city. That costs about $5 million. Admin support, that's our personnel, park and rec, transfer out, city admin. So you can see that our expense runs about $26 million. And if you remember from the previous slide, our revenue is about 24.5 million. So obviously there's a shortfall. So what do we do as a city council? Well, we have to cut. We have to cut our expenses, but at the same time maintain our vital public services. So, you know, people come to expect that they need to have nice parks, our streets need to be paved. So those things will continue, but we were able to cut about $1.7 million in expenses from this area. So one, we defer a lot of the city vehicle replacement that was scheduled for this year. We also suspended all travels and conferences for not just the staff, but also for city council, for us. Additionally, I propose to cut our own car allowance every month. In the past, we do attend a lot of events on behalf of the city, but because all the events are canceled, I didn't see a need for us to continue to receive car allowance. So I proposed and was supported by my council members to suspend our car allowance. And we also suspended our staff performance bonus. That was a tough one for us. You know, our staff does such an amazing job and we do want to reward them. But in this environment, we just have to cut our expenses. So we're suspending performance bonus. We are deferring COLA adjustment. That's the cost of living adjustment. We're reducing a lot of our consulting services for the city, and we're deferring hardware, software replacement. And we also canceled our special events. So every year, our residents come to expect to have a 4th of July fireworks show, to have concerts in the park. But unfortunately, due to COVID, those events have been canceled, but they also created some savings for us. So overall, as you can see on the screen, we're able to cut about $1.7 million of expenses. But, you know, sorry, lost my headset, sorry. But that's also not enough. So if you recall, our estimated revenue is about 24.5 million. Even after cutting our expenses, we still need to spend about $25 million. And there's a difference of 1.2, as you can see. So what do we do as a council? Well, luckily, we have been planning for this in a fund, what we call economic uncertainty fund, essentially our rainy day savings account. So from that account, we currently have about $6.5 million that we set aside, you know, a little bit year by year. And that fund was specifically set up for times like this. And that's why we're tapping into that, about $1.3 million worth, to help bridge that gap. Since we transferred in about $1.3 million from our savings account, now created some of a surplus. of $136,000. So one thing to remember though, in municipal finance, just because you budgeted something doesn't mean you have to spend it. So from a budgetary standpoint, we always over budget a little bit to leave that little bit of room. So even though you see a slight surplus here, it doesn't mean that we may spend it. We actually most likely will end up spending less than what we budgeted for, just given the current environment. So that's a little bit on budget. And next, I want to touch a little bit on our response to the pandemic. You know, in this unprecedented time and uncharted territory, every city is doing their best to try to help their residents and their businesses recover. And same thing with us. We started the pandemic back in March, if I recall, when the safer at home order went into place in March 19th. And immediately we closed down all the public places. We shut down the city hall and have all of our staff work remotely. But the work continues. And during the past few months, we've come up with several programs that I want to touch on. The most important thing that we have all the programs listed on a dedicated website, and that's diamondbarca.gov/COVID-19. And in it, we have resources available for both our residents and businesses. One of the first things that we did when businesses are slowly starting to open back up is to create an interactive map on this website. And we asked our local business to go on and kind of register so that our residents can know easily what businesses are open, what restaurants are open for takeout. And we feel that by doing so, we helped our residents and our businesses survive during this difficult time. And most businesses that I talk to, they tell us that revenues are down anywhere between 25 to 50%. So the impact is real. The potential damage is real, and we certainly want to do our best as a city to help our businesses recover. So if you have a moment, go on this website and you will find out some of the updates on the website. And also to help our residents, and you see this with a lot of other cities, we suspended our street sweeping citation. You know, we recognize that a lot of people are staying at home, they're not going to work. So inevitably that generates a lot more cars during the daytime. And we feel that this is the last thing that we want our residents to worry about, is whether or not they'll get a street parking citation because now they're ordered by LA County to stay home. So that was one of the first things that I proposed back in March, is to suspend our street sweeping citation. And that citation is still in effect. And we probably won't lift it until everyone's able to go back to work. As of now, that citation suspension is effective till June 30th, but we very well might extend that. And one of the things that I'm very excited about, and I do want to share, and hopefully can help me get the word out if you know any business owners in Diamond Bar. So last night at a special council meeting, we decided to start a business recovery grant. So given that it's a grant, this money does not need to be paid back. We're able to find $322,000 in funding from federal sources. So you may have heard about the CARE Act. It's a federal recovery act that the federal government funded. And based on each city's population, we receive an allocation. So our share so far in the first round of CARE Act funding is $322,000. So the council last night made a decision to use this money to set up a grant. And we envision a $5,000 grant to about 64 businesses. So if you take 322,000 divided by 5,000, it's roughly about 64 businesses. Now, obviously, we recognize that's not enough. There's a lot more than 64 businesses in Diamond Bar. And our challenge as a city council is, how do we help these businesses to not just survive, but also thrive after the pandemic, but at the same time, without having to dip too far into our reserve, our rainy day fund, because we do have to continue to maintain our vital city services. So we decided to make it $5,000 using $322,000 federal funding, meaning we're not using our own money for this. It's all coming from the federal government. And our goal is to help small businesses. So with that, we have set up some criteria. So in order for a business to be eligible, the money, first of all, must be used to hire or to retain at least one low to moderate income employee, and that's based on the federal guidelines. the restaurant or the business must be independently owned, meaning we're not going to give money to Target, for example, or Walmart. We don't think they need the money. So the business has to be independently owned with 25 or fewer full-time employees. And one thing that was interesting, that we feel that the grant must be used for a store with a storefront, meaning that if you have an office that's tucked away inside an office building, this grant unfortunately is not eligible for you. We really wanted to help our retail business and our restaurant business come back. And the business must have been around for at least 1 year from the date of the grant. So meaning going back to June of 2019, the business must have been around for at least 1 year. And as far as what the money can be used for, we wanted to make the money flexible. So we're not putting too many strings on this money. We asked the business to spend the money on rent, on payroll, on utilities, and most importantly, to purchase any personal protective equipment that they're gonna need in order to accommodate physical distancing. So as you probably have heard, LA County Public Department of Health, which we fall under, has issued a lot of guidelines for businesses such as restaurants or barbershops or other type of retail establishments. In order for them to come back to full operation, they have to limit to 60% capacity. They have to keep the tables 6 feet from each other. And in more crowded area, they need to build a physical barrier, most likely a plexiglass or some sort of barrier between tables. So all this costs money, right? And I've talked to enough business owners in Diamond Bar to know that they're already suffering. Some of them are some of them already owe back rent, back salary. And although they're receiving idle funds from SBA or PPP loans from their banks, it's just not enough. So we're hoping that with this $5,000 grant from the local city government can help them purchase the necessary equipment in order to accommodate all the physical distancing requirements. And in addition to this grant, I'll touch on that a little bit later. So this is some of the ways this is the way for business to apply. The grant will go live on June 22nd at 9 a.m. and it will stay open online till Wednesday at noon on June 24th. So it's a little bit over 48 hours. We want our business owners to go online and register and essentially enter themselves into a lottery program. And once we have all the applications, the window will close. And on June 25th, then we have a random lottery where we announce the 64 businesses that will win this grant. Now, the business that apply but don't win, don't worry, we'll keep your name on the list. And when we receive the next round of CARE Act funding, we'll make sure you're first on the list to receive the next round of funding. So we are anticipating another round of funding from CARE Act. I think that one's gonna be a little bit more. Last number I heard is about 700,000. So we will be able to help a lot more businesses, hopefully with the second round. Now, we also recognize that with $5,000, it will certainly help, but we also need to do more as a city to help them. So in addition to this grant, we're also relaxing our requirements for outside dining. For those of you that maybe are more familiar with Diamond Bar, you go around the city, you will see that we don't have a lot of outside dining. And that was a city ordinance that was passed some time ago that prohibits outside dining. But if restaurants are only operating on 60% capacity, they're obviously not going to be able to pay the overhead. So in order to help them out, we will relax our ordinance and allow them to put chairs and tables outside in both the sidewalk, in some cases into the parking lot. We're hoping that with some of the relaxation of our city ordinance, we can help businesses come back a little bit quicker. So that's our business recovery grant program that I'm very excited about. And as I mentioned earlier, this is a timeline that will be rolling it out. And once the official online lottery system's live, I'll host another webinar for those of you that are interested in signing up for this grant. Okay, now this is the part that I think most of you are more interested in, is some real estate opportunities in Diamond Bar. So one of the things that may not be a common knowledge is that every city in California is required to put together what they call a general plan. And because Diamond Bar was first incorporated in 1989, our last plan was drafted back in the early 1990s. And it's been about 20, 25 years since our last plan. So per state requirement, we spent a good amount of about 2 years gathering community input and also having consultants come in to help us draft our next 20 years. So this latest general plan was just adopted earlier this year, and it's valid till 2040. So we call this the General Plan 2040. And this is essentially a roadmap for the next 20 years. The map that you see on the screen here, it's a map of Diamond Bar within our city limits, right? And you can see a lot of different color coding on there. And each color coding represents a zoning requirement. So you can see, just for example, you can see some shades of purple, and that's the area that I'll touch on a little bit later. That's a brand new concept for us. I don't know if you can see, but there's a little bit of purple right here. That's an area between Diamond Bar Boulevard and the Golden Spring Drive on the north side of Diamond Bar. And this purple area is what we designated to be what we call neighborhood mixed use. So this is a brand new concept for us, but it's not uncommon for other cities. You see this in a lot of kind of more urban areas in California where they have a storefront at the bottom, but they have residential developments on top, right? Like a condo. So we see this in Brea, we've seen this in Claremont. It's very popular in a lot of cities for a couple reasons. One, with the same square footage, and every city is fighting for land right now, and Diamond Bar is pretty much fully developed. But with the same square footage, now you have retail spaces at the bottom where hopefully they'll generate sales tax for the city. And on top, you have condos that can generate property tax revenue for the city. So this is becoming a very popular concept for a lot of cities, and Diamond Bar is trying to be in the forefront of this as well. Let me just back up a little bit. So our general plan, the first one that was adopted back in the early 1990s, focused heavily on residential development. So if you go back and look at that plan, it literally said that Diamond Bar was to become a gated exclusive community. That was literally in the plan. So the city followed that guideline for the past 20 years. And that's why when you come to Diamond Bar, you see a lot of gated communities. You see a lot of large single family homes with a parcel at least 9,000 square feet, a lot of them over an acre. So you see the same thing in San Marino, for example. These are not by chance. These designs are very intentional. And when Diamond Bar was first founded back in 1989, the city council and the residents at the time felt that was important for us to become an exclusive residential community. And that's what they did. And I think they did a pretty good job. And that's why we have very nice homes. We have a great school district. But the flip side of that, because we focus so much on residential, we actually neglected our commercial development, right? So that concept worked well for 20 years when we had a lot of land. And as you might know, when a city allows a development project to come in, the city collects engineering fees, planning fees, plan checks. So it's a huge revenue source for the city. But what happens after the development is built? Then the city's on the hook, right, to maintain the streets, the sewer system, electricity lights, and all of that. That's all up to the city. So what happens over the past 20 years, the city has focused on building a lot of homes and receiving this one-time injection into the general fund. And that worked well until we ran out of land. So right now we have all these housing units in Diamond Bar, 18,000 of it, that we had to maintain, all the public space, but we're running out of these one-time revenue sources. So we feel that going forward, and that's one of the things that I'm passionate about, is how do we revitalize our local economy so that our sales tax can pick up. And earlier, if you recall, we received about $15 million in property tax revenue, but only $5 million in sales tax. And we need to find a way to balance that. If we can get anywhere between 10 to 15 million in sales tax, that'll be a great benefit for the city and our residents, and we can continue to offer high level services that our residents has come to expect. And that's what we're hoping with this town center concept will come. So let me share a little bit drawing on the town center. This is what we're envisioning. Again, this is on the corner of Diamond Bar Boulevard and Golden Springs Drive. And the challenge here that you see is the plaza is spread out between both sides of the street. And to make it more challenging, this area is owned by about 6 different property owners. So the city, we're the governing body, but we don't own property. So what we can do is try to convince this business owners to come together and to fall into this vision that we have for this area. I mean, we strongly believe that if the property owners will support us in our vision, everyone will benefit, right? So the city, we want to connect the two sides to make it more walkable. We want to create some sort of community place where the community can come and gather. One of the issues that we have right now in Diamond Bar is that people will go to a store, let's say an Albertsons. They'll buy some groceries and they'll leave and go home. There's really not a place for the community to kind of stop and gather and just spend some time outdoors. We're hoping with this new town center mixed use concept, we can create what we call a placemaking. Things like a water fountain or a plaza, a community theater outdoors, where the community can buy stuff, bring a picnic basket, and just gather and spend some time outdoors. We feel that by doing so, we'll create more community spirit. We'll have more synergy between all the different businesses in the area. And we'll certainly increase sales tax revenue for all of us. And in turn, we'll create property tax value. So this area is going to be heavily focused on, I would say, for the next 8 to 10 years. And for those of you that are familiar with city projects, everything takes time, from engineering studies to traffic studies to environmental impact studies. Everything's going to take some time. But I do believe that this is one area that will see a lot of action in the next 8 to 10 years. And all the surrounding neighborhoods will most likely see some sort of revitalization from both a design perspective and just from a kind of hardware facility and infrastructure standpoint. So for those of you who are in commercial real estate, I would encourage you to keep an eye on this area in the next 8 to 10 years. And later we'll have some time for questions once we'll unmute everybody. So this is the area that's currently being developed, and we will see hopefully some action in the next 8 to 10 years. But there are some other current opportunities that I want to share with you. I just have a few more slides to go through. So we have 4 major opportunities right now in Diamond Bar. As I mentioned, although we're known for our residential areas, we're starting to put more focus on our commercial industry, and we do want to hopefully bring more restaurants, more unique shops, and different types of retail establishments for our residents. So we have the Brea Canyon Business Park, which I'll go over in a little bit. It's 5.7 acres. We have the Diamond Ranch Shopping Center, 8 acres, that's currently managed by ROIC. We have the Grand Avenue exit off 60 Freeway, which is a hotel site. And we have a huge retail location, 15,000 square footage, a vacant freestanding retail building right now that I'll go over in just a little bit. And also, I'm happy to take questions after we're done with this. So hold your questions for the time being. One, we have the Brea Canyon Business Park. So this is interesting. This is a parcel that's about 5.73 acres that's right off the freeway and used to be an RV storage lot. So if you drive by it, although it's supposed to be an RV storage, but it really looked like a junkyard because a lot of people store their out of function or their non-functional RV in this lot. It's located right off the freeway. The developer did enter through an entitlement program, and it's been approved by both the Planning Commission and the City Council. Although the lot's still vacant, but they're scheduled to build out starting hopefully later this year, if not early next year. So right now, the vision that there will be a 3-story hotel. We're thinking that will be some sort of either a Hampton Inn or a Hyatt brand hotel. And there will also be a 3-story office condo building and a 1-story medical plaza. And our understanding is that the developer will be selling off these units. So they're not looking to owner occupy, they will be selling off these units. So there's going to be 50,000 square footage of office space, 3,000 square footage of restaurant space, and we're also going to have a medical condo plaza. And as I mentioned, the developer already passed all the entitlement process and they have the permit. It's been approved by both the Planning Commission and the City Council, and we're hoping that they'll break ground sometime later this year. Next, we have the brand new Diamond Bar Ranch Shopping Center. So this plaza, it's 8.14 acres, and this used to be a Kmart plaza. So as all of you know, Kmart went out of business a while back, and this plaza actually stayed empty for almost 8-9 years, which is an empty building in the middle of a huge parking lot. It's quite an eyesore, to be honest. And we understand why the developers at first were hesitant to come in, because they had no clarity. They didn't know what the city's plan was with this area. But since we start developing our general plan and this concept of downtown Diamond Bar is being established, we're seeing that the property owners in this area are much more willing to revitalize and start actually getting real anchor tenants in here. So that's why we saw Ross coming in, we saw Sprouts coming in, Chipotle came in, McDonald's here, and the Coffee Beans came in. And we're continuing to try to get other business to come in by working with the plaza owner. And this plaza, it's going to be the centerpiece of the envisioned downtown Diamond Bar. There's still a lot of spaces available. So if you have a client that's looking to open up a shop or a restaurant, come talk to us and we'll connect you with the property owner, and so that we can get you a space in here. Keep in mind that this is only one of the 6 property owners. So if this plaza doesn't work out, there's about 5 other surrounding plazas on both sides of the Diamond Bar Boulevard that may be appropriate. So come talk to us. We'll be happy to connect you with the property owners. Next, there's a hotel development opportunity. It's a 4.09 acre, but up to 7.3.7 acre buildable site. This is right off the Grand Avenue on the 60 freeway. If you're coming from downtown, so going in eastbound, the 60 will be on your left-hand side of Grand Avenue. This used to be a Honda auto dealer that went out of business during the last recession back in 2008. And then there was a Burger King on site as well. So it's a pretty big piece of land. It's flattened, it's graded, and it's ready to go. The auto dealer closed out in 2008, and Burger King closed soon after that. So the site has been sitting empty for almost 12 years now. We had an application for a hotel in this area, but for whatever reason, the developer backed out. So this is another opportunity in Diamond Bar that we think it's appropriate for a hotel. We're hoping to get a hotel, maybe a restaurant combo in there, and we're actively looking for potential developers or tenants to come in. So again, if you have clients that are interested, by all means come talk to us and we'll connect you with the right people. Next, we have a retail location. This used to be a Big Lot storefront. It was 15,000 square feet, and it was difficult for them to find one anchor tenant to come in because of it's such a large space. And as you know, the retail experience is changing. We're not seeing a lot of big box stores that just sell things, and because most people are buying things online now, and that's why we believe Big Lot had some issues trying to maintain this space. So the owner actually subdivided this space into 5 smaller storefronts. So from 15,000 square feet, one big lot, into 5 smaller storefronts with about between 3,000 to 5,000 square footage. So we think that with the new format, it's going to be more reasonable for smaller companies or smaller business to come in, hopefully restaurants. I believe we currently have 2 applications for this space. One's for a bank, and the other one's for actually a real estate office. But there's still some available space in this area. It's located right in the middle of Diamond Bar, right on Grand Avenue and Diamond Bar Boulevard. It's our business, a very busy corner for us, because all 4 corners are commercial plazas. It's the only place in Diamond Bar where you have all 4 corners being commercial plaza. The other place that we're developing on North End into downtown Diamond Bar, that has retail establishment on 2 sides of the street, but not 4 corners. So this is a unique plaza in Diamond Bar that gets a lot of foot traffic and car traffic. And there's already a lot of restaurants in this place, like Jack in the Box. We have a lot of independent-owned restaurants in this intersection. So if you have some clients who might be interested in getting a space here, by all means, again, please talk to us. Okay, and that's what I have as far as the development opportunities in Diamond Bar. Hopefully that was informative. I know Diamond Bar is often looked at as a residential neighborhood, but as I mentioned, we are trying to put more focus on our commercial industry by trying to develop and get more business into our downtown Diamond Bar area. So if you know anybody that wants to come in, email or talk to us, and then we'll be happy to connect you. So with that, my presentation over, I'll be happy to take questions.
Thank you, Andrew. First question is from Diane Wong. How is Diamond Bar helping multifamily owners? Many tenants are not able to pay rent.
Yes, that's a great question. So Diamond Bar as a city, we have partnered with LA County, and we do get a lot of resources from both the county and the state. So as a lot of you know, that there's a eviction moratorium that's coming down from the state. So as a city, we do have to follow that. And fortunately, I believe there are a lot of programs for homeowners as well, for mortgage forbearance program. So as a city, we don't have the funding to kind of help homeowners with the mortgage, but we do partner with the county and the state to offer forbearance programs. So if you have questions about that, I believe the state has a great resource. And again, if you need help with that, please email me and I can connect you with the right people.
Great. Next question is from Jeffrey Hua. At the beginning of your presentation, you indicated the city of Diamond Bar derives some taxes from city services. What are some examples of those city services?
Great question. Yeah, that comes up a lot. So Diamond Bar does own a Diamond Bar Center on top of Grand Avenue. And that's a very popular venue for corporate events and even weddings, and a lot of nonprofits will also have the events there. Actually, I believe one of the real estate organizations, ARIA, I believe, had their banquet there. So it's a popular venue and we do have income from that. Additionally, when developers come in, they either want to fix up a storefront or they want to build a single family home, they have to pay what's called a plant check or engineering fee. So that's another source of revenue. And we also provide city services, right? If someone comes to the city, they want to take a recreational class, for example, we get some revenue from that. And also if they have a business Diamond Bar, we collect a nominal fee, like $20 for licensing fee. So there are different ways for a city to receive revenue by providing vital services to the resident. Now you're right, most services are free, like maintaining parks, maintaining our street. Those obviously we're not gonna charge our residents for that. But we also get revenue from parking citation. So not street sweeping citation, but sometimes people just leave their car on Main Street, we do write citations. And also code enforcement. One of the things that we pride ourselves in as a city is that we're able to maintain a beautiful, look and feel of the city. When you come through Diamond Bar, almost every home is very well maintained, well kept. That's because we have a strong code enforcement program. So if we have a home that we believe is out of a code, we will go and talk to them, help to bring them into code. But if they continue to violate our code, then at some point we'll issue a citation. So those are a couple different ways that a city can receive revenue.
Great. Our next question is from Ling Chow. Can you share a little bit about ADU in Diamond Bar?
Yes. So ADU is, I believe, statewide it's allowed, and certainly Diamond Bar follows that. We actually currently have a couple of ADU units in Diamond Bar. As a matter of fact, 3 houses down on my street is an ADU. They have 2 units on one parcel. So we do allow that. And as with most, I think all cities in the state of California have to allow that. So we do allow it.
Great. If I don't see any more questions, if you see any, if you have any other questions, please text it on the private chat. And if not, I will close this up.
Then I'll give back the screen.
Thank you. On behalf of the West San Gabriel Valley Realtors, we would like to thank Andrew Chow for his informative presentation.
Thank you.
Sorry. Please make sure to participate in our education class. A list of upcoming classes is displayed on your screen. Thank you everyone for joining our meeting today. We hope to see you again next week for social media that can advance your real estate business with Felix Hung, social media real estate expert. Please support our affiliates with your transactions. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.